So I titled this chat, "The Experts Are Lying to You About Manufacturing and Factories," and while some of what they're saying is absolutely true, the bulk of it is not. Let me get my microphone set up here. The truth is that while manufacturing's changed, a lot of it is very much the same, and we need to kind of, like, I feel as a guy that owns a manufacturing business, like, we have to kind of dispel some of the fear mongering that's going on today. Like, there are a lot of people really trying to scare people today in the idea of what it means to bring manufacturing back to America, or just to work in manufacturing in general. I mean, we don't have to talk about bringing it back. It's just, what is manufacturing today, and what is a factory today? What does this stuff even mean? And I need a freaking beer. Holy smokes. So, truth is that manufacturing, I grew up in manufacturing my entire life. I worked 20 years in manufacturing, in small business manufacturing and corporate manufacturing, and the two are very different. They have a lot of similarities, but they are very different. And the truth is that manufacturing is a good thing. Working a manufacturing type job is a good thing, but it's very different. Manufacturing is very different today than I think what the pundits and people on television and people on like Twitter and or X, whatever the hell we're calling it, these people don't know what manufacturing is, and I'm wholly convinced of that after listening to people kind of talk about these kind of jobs. There was a study that came out, and that Frank Luntz, he's a pollster, and he was talking about how basically like 80% of Americans want manufacturing to come back to America, right? But then he asked the question, how many people want to work in factories? And only 20% of people said they want to work in factories, right? And this poll is put out there just to basically try and convince people that nobody actually wants to work in a factory, no one actually wants to work in manufacturing, and that it's some kind of a soulless existence, right? You're working in a dark room surrounded by machines that leak oil and they're loud and all these kind of things. And the truth is, manufacturing is very different. It's so different, you know? But they also want you to think that, like you've seen the memes going around, there's gonna be a bunch of people working at sewing machines or screwing in little screws inside of an iPhone. And truth is, that's not manufacturing at all. Now, is that manufacturing in a highly mechanized place like in China or maybe in Vietnam? Like, sure, maybe that's a thing over there, but I'm here to tell you that that's not really how the majority of manufacturing works in America. And I'll go into some anecdotes and I'll kind of explain to you guys what manufacturing really is, what working in a factory really means, as someone who did it for 20 years and does it today and owns a factory and a manufacturing business. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So hear me out here, okay? My name is Eric Wilkin. I own the Resplendent Crow. I do these talks just trying to tell people about the business of furniture making, the business of painting, and what it's like to really run a freaking company here in America when you're basically an idiot. Like, I'm an idiot. I've never graduated high school. I just busted my ass forever. Anyway, we have a small business here in St. Louis. We have 7 employees. We do small 7 figures. And the truth is that it's really freaking hard business, but it's good for like a small middle class kind of living. And so if you're watching this cast today, I want you to add your comments. Tell me what you do. Do you have any experience in manufacturing? Am I way off base? Am I right on point? Like, add to the discussion, hit the like button, and let's have this discussion today, okay? So I wrote down, I got a whole page of things. I got a beer, I'm gonna sit here and drink, and we're gonna talk about manufacturing in America, and we're gonna talk about why these experts are wrong. They're so wrong, okay? And the first reason that the experts are wrong, and you go on, they said, go on Twitter, go on, Fox News, CNN, all these places. The first way you know all these people is wrong, not one of them owns a manufacturing company. Not one of them. It's always some investor, right? And the truth is that an investor would never invest in a manufacturing business because only people like myself are willing to do this kind of work, right? Only middle-class people are willing to work 60, 70 hours a week for a modest income. Like, that's just how it is. None of these investor types or the so-called experts are willing to do any of this shit. And that's really what it boils down to. That's all you need to know today. And it really pisses me off as somebody who, again, does this work. I've done this work forever. I've been the guy that works for somebody, and then I've been the guy that employs people, okay? And I'll tell you what, the employees that work for me, they're very happy where I work. We have basically, it's like a crap facility. I wouldn't even bullshit you. You guys have seen, if you watch any of my videos, any of my lives, you've seen all the stuff that I have in my shop. It's not some amazing space with white floors. Hold on, I got my, okay, anyway, So it's my wife, she was messaging me. That's a whole other discussion. You get to work with your spouse sometimes. Oh shit. But anyway, point is that my employees like it, and it's a great place to work. But we don't have beautiful floors. We don't have the finest new machinery. You see, all my machinery is used. My tools, I'm able to buy some new tools, but for the most part, I buy used tools because none of us can afford that kind of stuff, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, we get to do things here that you can't do at a big business, and we get to do things that investors will never talk about, right? These people that are, again, the quote-unquote experts, like none of these people understand that, you know, we get to come in kind of when we want. We're not super sticklers for when you show up. We just want you to put in your hours. You know, we give 10 days of paid time off, you know, all year, every year, and that's one of the benefits that we offer. We don't offer healthcare and dental because we can't afford it. I mean, it's just the truth of it. Small business can't afford this stuff, you know. And so these experts, they come in and they try and fearmonger to people. Oh, you don't want these jobs to come back here. These jobs are going to be, you know, you're going to have to work in a closed off building. You're going to have to be in, you know, little tiny spaces, working on sewing machines like they show you. Like, it's none of that shit, you know. But there are trade-offs. You know, like I said, I can have a beer here at lunch if I want, because truth is that I own the company. If I want to cultivate this kind of environment, I can. You have choices when you work for yourself. You don't have to follow processes and procedures and basically be a robot, which is kind of what they're trying to tell you you're going to be. They're telling you you're going to be some kind of a machine, okay, which is complete crap. Okay, we got some comments coming in. Let's see what we got going on here. So we got Sarif, because he's, hey, yo, bro, goddamn, yeah. Yeah, hello, nice to meet you. Hit the like button, hit the comments. Like I said, tell me what you guys do. I mean, am I off base? Do I know kind of what's going on here, okay? So we have a small furniture making company here in St. Louis, Missouri. We do like maybe 500 pieces a year. It's not massive, you know, but it's a good, comfortable living. And truth is that when I go to work, I don't wear a uniform, right? I don't wear steel-toed shoes. I don't have to have hearing protection, eye protection, bubble wrap, you know, gobs of freaking respirators and like all the PPE shit that you see everywhere. You know, do we have all this stuff? Of course we do, you know, but you don't have to wear all that shit if you don't want. It's not a big concern to me, you know. I kind of have an idea who's working safe and who isn't, and just because we don't have a safety coordinator running around our shop doesn't mean we're a bad company to work for, right? We hand cut all of our parts here. We have some CNC capabilities as well, but for the most part, we hand cut everything. When we paint our stuff, we mix all of our paints up by hand. We do all of our tinting by sight. You know, we spray everything by hand. We don't have any mechanized systems, and it's a fantastic place to work. It's a fantastic place. People really like working here. Most people that work for me for about 5-6 years. You know, I don't have a ton of turnover. You know, I've got a group of people that I'll constantly turn over because they're F-ups basically, and you're going to get that when you hire people. But for the most part, I got my tentpole employees who do a great job. They love coming into work, and it's a fantastic place to manufacture furniture. So when these experts come out and they basically try and say that, you know, things are going to get really expensive and the work isn't going to be very good. People aren't going to like the work, you know, all these kind of things. If you don't get a college degree, you're going to not make money. You're going to be poor. You know, they said that for a long time. Like, these experts have been wrong for so long, right? They took all the jobs, they sent them overseas, told you you'd get some cheap shit, right? You got cheap televisions, you got cheap phones, but who the hell really needs a phone every year? Right? A phone, I mean, kind of should be an investment. Just like furniture. I got, you know, furniture behind me. Like, no one should be able to buy a piece of furniture for $100. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't think that. You know, and if we're going to employ people in America to make shit, you're not going to be able to employ people for $10 an hour. It's not going to happen. You know, you're going to have to pay money, which means the stuff that you buy here in America, you're going to have to pay for. You know, and we've just convinced everyone that we're basically entitled to these really low prices, and then we should have super high wages on top of that. And it hasn't worked out. The experts, I wouldn't say that they lied, but they were just wrong, because the experts don't fucking make anything. They don't make anything. They don't do anything. All they do is think about things, right? And a lot of times when they think about stuff, they don't know the second, third, and fourth order consequences of the things that they're talking about. So I got a real problem with these so-called experts talking about how, you know, us dumb people, we can't possibly manufacture here in America. We can't manufacture at the capacity that people need. We don't have the capabilities. Like, it's complete horseshit. You know, so don't be fooled by these people. These people are all fear-mongering. They're all talking about how, you know, we're going to crash the economy. You know, I mean, let's talk about crashing the economy, okay? So truth is that what's happened in America today is everybody has become hyper-specialized, like hyper-specialized. You know, and I don't know what everybody does here. Like I said, if anyone talks about talks about what they're doing. Is this pre-recorded? No, it is not pre-recorded. And Hashir, I can't pronounce your last name, but it sounds like you're from the Middle East, so let me know what country you're in. The best cabinet maker I ever hired was from Syria, right? Refugee, went to Germany, made it over here to America. Fantastic furniture maker. Anyway, the point is that we can make anything here in America. There's nothing we can't make, but you are gonna have to pay for it, right? Like all this great stuff that we have here, you don't get it for free. And everyone's been convinced that it's supposed to be cheap, right? And we've caused everyone to get super specialized in everything that we do. And I'm here to tell you this. When you are a master of one little thing, it means you know nothing else, right? You can't make anything because all you do is this one little tiny thing. You know, and truth is that when you own a company or you make stuff for a living, you basically can do anything. Like there's nothing, yeah, you can't do finance, but you sure can fix things. You can make things. You have access to all kinds of creativity that you just wouldn't have if all you did was freaking finance, or you were a quote unquote expert that talked about the history of an industry, the history of manufacturing, why America can't manufacture, you know, why cheap Chinese shit is gonna lead to better prices for Americans and it's gonna be better for all of us. Like we're seeing that these people are just dead wrong. They are so wrong, y'all. And they're trying to convince you right now that because like the stock market's going down, that suddenly you shouldn't want manufacturing to come back to America, or just jobs. It doesn't have to be manufacturing, like just jobs. They try and scare you into thinking that the world's gonna fall apart. Well, you know who it's gonna fall apart for? It's gonna fall apart for all the people that can't make anything. The people that don't really work, right? These are your MBA types, right? Your project managers. These are your people that love to, like your occupational safety health people, your production engineers, your manufacturing engineers. These people are all fucked, right? Because they've got nothing to do when you have a company like mine, right? A company like mine, like I've got 7 people. I manage my people. I make furniture. I help with paint. I order everything. I work on bids. I do all the design work. I do all the engineering. Right? So imagine if that was your job, right? You're telling me you wouldn't like that? You wouldn't like having a bunch of things to do, you know, to keep your mind busy? You can go from one task to another task to another task. Or you really want to be one of these people that does one thing forever, right? You get paid $100,000 to basically, you know, design toilet seats for 20 years. Is that really what we want to do with Americans today? Do we really want, like, if you're worried about the stock market and everyone tells you, oh, the 401k, like I haven't had a fucking 401k in 6 years, maybe 6 years. Like I got a business. My business is my 401k, right? I'm putting all my chips on the table that my business is going to make me enough money to where when I'm done, I can then give my business to my kids and then they can pay me a little tiny salary and then they can run this thing. Or maybe I sell it off to one of my employees, right? One of my employees buys it. They pay me, you know, a measly 15, 20 grand a year as some kind of a royalty where I can maybe consult or something. And then I use that money, you know, for my living expenses. That's my 401k. As a person that owns a manufacturing company and actually produces and makes stuff, okay? I don't care about the stock market and I don't care about any of this garbage that these people are talking about. It doesn't matter. As long as you can make something here in America, you have a company, you know, or say you work for one of these small businesses, you do this kind of stuff, you get in good with a small business owner like me, we're gonna keep you employed forever. There's no incentive for businesses to get rid of their employees unless the employees suck, right? They're hard to deal with, all these kind of things, you know? So this idea that, you know, we can't have this manufacturing back here. Nobody wants these jobs. These jobs are gonna be terrible for people. They're dirty, you know, they're archaic and antiquated. All these things that people say, it's all shit, people. I'm telling you, it's all garbage. Trust me, you wanna go to work for somebody that has a little tiny manufacturing company. It'd be the best thing that ever happened to you, right? Someone who's not breathing down your neck all the time. Oh, get this thing done in the hours you need to get it done. And you know, because truth is that I don't care if you get it done in the hours. What I care is that you show up, you put in your time, and you do a good job. Because the truth is, if you do those things, you're gonna get your job done on time. Now, if you don't, if you're screwing off all the time, you show up late, my employees are bitching about you, the quality of your work is kind of garbage, right? You're not gonna get anything done on time, and then my company is gonna kick you out. But again, you work for one of these small companies, you become one of these employees, it's just a good dude, good chick, you know, you're in the company, everything's fine. We're not riding each other's asses to get everything done because we're a good group of people. That is what corporate America is terrified of. They are terrified of the notion of you working for somebody who you really like, right? Who pays you a decent wage, you know, may not get all the benefits you want, you know, but does the best they can. And trust me, it's great. And people like to make fun of this whole, it's a family thing. Well, guess what? My family is in my business. these people that work for me, these are my kids. These are the people that I spend all my time with. Like all of our kids are grown and out of the house. I don't even talk to them very much. These are the people that I see every day. It's my job to make sure they have work, that they do a good job, they have purpose, and they like where they work. It's super important. It's super important, you know, and corporate America is terrified of that. They do not want people doing what I do, which is own a small business and hire people. Okay, sorry guys, I'm gonna go through my comments, and that's my kind of little spiel. I've got a whole page of stuff I want to talk about, so I'll get to this stuff. I'm gonna try and keep this talk down to like 30 to 45 minutes if I can, but I want to go through your comments. I want you guys to tell me where I'm wrong, tell me where I agree, and let's get this conversation going, because I'm tired of hearing these people, crying about the economy and pissing and moaning about the stock market. Like, Jesus Christ, nobody gives a fuck about the stock market. I know some don't like the profanity, but again, I work at a company. I can say whatever I want. I don't have to worry about offending anyone. That's another thing, right? There's no HR at my company. I don't need HR, because guess what? HR doesn't make me money. All HR does is keep me from getting sued, which I've been sued before. What am I going to do? You get sued. It's part of life. All right, here we go. Go through the comments. So we're up to 6 likes today. We got people watching. I really appreciate it, guys. You have no idea. Okay, is this pre-recorded? I answered your question, Sheer. We got more people. Anahu Horizon. I'm a student LPU in the beach for SEC, but I went to earn money. So how can I earn? I don't know what any of that means. I'm a student in LPU. I don't know where LPU is. Okay, so you're in biotech. Okay, so my stepdaughter is also in biotech at UCLA in California. She was working on her PhD. In SE. Yeah, I just don't know where this is. This is some other country. You may have to elaborate. Give me answer for my comments. Yeah, I will as soon as I kind of understand where you're at. But I'll elaborate on it. Give me just a second. I'm going to go through a couple more comments and I'll come back to you. How can I earn money? Okay, and because the question of earning money is different depending on where you live, right? If you live in another country, it's a different situation. If you live here in America, I could probably help you. But if you're, like I said, I don't know any of these abbreviations, and yeah, I'm just not sure. Okay, give me an answer to my comment. Yep, I will. I appreciate you adding to the comments. Got more people coming in. Chief, I'm not quite sure what that means. Then we got Branson coming in. The Modelo hitting. Yeah, you gotta have a beer. A beer a day keeps the divorce attorney away. That's kind of how I look at it. Huey Corn the long way. Oh boy. Jesus loves you. Okay, so we got a couple of comments coming in, but not a ton of helpful ones, which is fine. No big deal. So if you want to make money, and like I said, if you're in, who's this guy's comment? He says he's in biotech. Okay. The truth is that if you're in biotech and you live here in America, you're gonna have to, or excuse me, you're obviously in another country. You're in another country. Odds are the money coming into the company you're going to work for is going to come from an American pharmaceutical company, right? It's going to come from America, or it's going to come from the United Kingdom, which is where the other major pharmaceutical companies are, like Eli Lilly and companies like that. Okay, so truth is that it's going to get very difficult for you, because our current president has already said he's going to implement tariffs on pharmaceuticals, and the reason that he's doing that is because of what happened during the pandemic. Right? Like everything was made overseas, and everyone here in America was like, what are we doing? Why is it that we're relying on the rest of the world to make shit for us? This is ridiculous, So it's gonna be very difficult, I think, to make money in the pharmaceutical industry, unless you're doing something for maybe an Australian company, or maybe you could work for a company in Europe. Europe's still got lots of money, and they make, they probably pay it really well, but I don't know a ton of the biotech stuff. Like I said, my stepdaughter is working on her PhD in biotech, and she's literally working on something that nobody really wants, but that she's being paid for by research grants, right? And this is another thing, like if you live in America, we love to just give money away to teachers, and we love to give money away to professors and people that just love to study shit. For some reason, we'll give you infinite amount of money to go to school and to do research, but we won't give a small business owner 50 grand to finance his business idea. It's a really weird place here in America, but we'll let that business owner sell his business to a corporation, and then the corporation will take those jobs and they'll send them over to China. And then the guy that had the business before, and all the people that work for him are like, well, what the fuck do I do? Because the corporation said, well, we got to make more money. We got to cut costs. Get those jobs out of here. That's what happened to America. That's why it's been hollowed out. There's not enough people that know how to start companies and make shit in America anymore. And we've sold it all away, given everything away. It's given away all to the Chinese. The Chinese then come in and they buy all of our debt. here in America by the way of bonds, right? They buy these bonds from us, and then we basically bribe people with votes, right? We say, hey, we're gonna give you all this free welfare, we'll give you all these research grants if you're a student, like you're a PhD, we'll give you tons of money as long as you vote, the way we want you to vote. We'll give you all this money and we'll finance it. We'll take out debt in order to do it. It's a really crazy system we have here in America. I can't really figure it out. So to the person looking to make money as a PhD in bio or as a biotech person, like, good luck, man. It's I don't know that world very much, but I know that if you want to make money as a furniture maker or you want to make money in the paint game, you could literally start in your garage. There's nothing that prevents you. It's a very low barrier to entry to do what it is that we do. This is not the kind of business where you need $50,000 to get going. You don't. You need $5,000 and a place to work. That's it. But you got to be able to work long hours. You might have to breathe a little bit of dust. It might get kind of noisy. It could be dirty. I mean, you look at my floor. My floor is covered in dust. But it's a middle-class living, right? And you can make your own way. You can operate your business the way you want. You can keep your shop the way you want. You can write your own processes and procedures. You don't have to have some process engineer telling you how to do something. You can do it yourself, and you'll be rewarded based on how good you are at it. If you suck at it, you're going to lose your ass, and you're going to be pissed off, and you're going to have to start over. But that's what people do. That's a great thing about America is you can fall apart, you can hit rock bottom, and then you can start over. If you've got a company, you can file for bankruptcy, and some people like to talk shit on bankruptcy, but bankruptcy laws are actually there so that the people that are able to create jobs can start over and try again, because it's incredibly hard. This is why most people that start businesses fail, right? And this is what these people are doing today. They are literally fear-mongering everybody into thinking that if you want to make something yourself, that you're going to be poor, right? Your stock market's going to collapse if you want jobs to come back here. If you want to protect anything, you're basically anti-capitalist, which I can tell you as someone that owns a furniture company is horse shit. Okay, you're not anti-capitalist if you want to protect something that is vital to your country. You're not some kind of a socialist. You're not any of these things. You're just wanting to be able to have the freedom to try some different things and do some different stuff in America and not be beaten by regulation and beaten by corporate America and beaten down by people scaring you into thinking that you can't do anything other than work for somebody else. So rant. Anyway, so I'll go through all these notes that I have here. We'll kind of talk about some more of these things. And I appreciate all the people coming in and listening to the rant and hopefully adding to the conversation. So I don't have a ton of comments coming in, which tells me that either I'm going in the right direction or I'm boring. I have no idea. So again, tell me what you guys do. Is everybody here unemployed? Do you all just sit at home? Are you all housewives? Are you all house husbands? Like, people got to do something, and I don't know what people are doing. So let me know. All right, so go through my notes here. First thing I wrote down is experts are lying, fear-mongering about manufacturing in factories, okay? There's nothing wrong with working in a factory like mine. It's kind of dirty, it's loud, there aren't, we don't have any air conditioning, right? We do have heat, we have heat year-round, but we don't have air conditioning. That's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. If jobs come back to America, more people might have to work in these kind of environments, and I think that's okay. My employees are super happy with where they work. I've never had any complaints about my facilities, right? I've had complaints about the pay sometimes. I've had complaints about the smell of paint sometimes, for sure. But truth is that for the most part, people like it. It's a good place to work, and we're a kind of a collective group of people. Anybody has any problems, we help each other out. I've let people stay at my home for weeks at a time. I've given people loans for cars. I've given people loans for apartments. I've bailed people out of jail. Like, I've done all kinds of things for my employees, and that's kind of how it should be. When employees have a problem, I don't send them to fucking HR. I am HR. And that feels really good. I really like that. So if more people have to make things in America because our government says, we're not going to buy all this cheap garbage from someplace else, that might be okay. You might get to work in a place like this, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's been pretty good, So all right, so let's see. Experts are trying to terrify Americans about factory jobs and manufacturing. I already covered that, and that's 100% true. Everybody is scaring you to death at the idea that you might have to go to work at a manufacturing facility. You might have to make something, And truth is, there's so many people I know that like making things. They like making, especially like upholstery products. You'd be amazed how many people really enjoy sewing couch cushions. And my wife, has 2 degrees. She loves sewing. She likes the idea of making a jacket. She wants to make one of these like Chanel type jackets. There's a name for them, but just really nice stuff. My dad, 70 years old, keeps a Juki sewing machine in his house. He sews all the time, sews his hats, sewed the steering wheel on his old, whatever, like 44 Ford pickup. Like people like to do this stuff, and they used to like doing this stuff, and Americans are gonna like to do this stuff again. They're gonna remember what it was like to make shit. I don't think there's a better feeling in the world than to make something myself. So anyway, the fear mongering is bullshit. They're getting you with the whole, the whole stock market thing. The economy is gonna crash and no one's gonna have any jobs. And the truth is that if you're not allowed to, purchase so much shit from China, or the shit from China gets more expensive, your products will become more competitive. And while there may not be as many people buying things, you will have the opportunity to buy stuff if you're good at what you do, right? And that's true in any market, whether it's the busiest market in the world or the slowest market in the world. There are always buyers, okay? I have went through 3 recessions in my life at this point, and every single time there have been buyers. And there have been people who are willing to look at what you do and give you their business, right? If you give them a fair price, you treat them right, it's there. And same thing goes for employers. There are always jobs, even in a recession. And truth is that if you're good at what you do, you will always have a job. But if you're mediocre and you're a pain in the ass and nobody likes to be around you and you're just a warm body, as we say, you're in trouble. So just be aware of that kind of stuff. This idea that, making things here in America is going to be bad for people is complete horseshit, and I completely reject it. All right, more comments coming in. We got Cast Blast 1989. That must mean you're 10 years younger than me. Let's say I've been clean sober for 376 days from speaking any racist comments as of today. Thank you, Lord. Okay, well, I don't know what to make of that, but I guess anybody that can do anything consistently for 576 days, man, has my support 100%. Being consistent might be just about the hardest thing for people to do. To do something consistently every day that they don't involuntarily have to do is really hard to do. I mean, to take that from as someone who hires people and fires people for a living, it's very hard to find people that are consistent. So good on you, Gas Blast. All right, we got Mei Chen coming in. Show us the guns, bro. Sorry, no guns, bro. I'm just a runner. Modern wood runner, that's what it's called. Because I actually am a runner. I've done tons of endurance events and marathons, ultra marathons, all that kind of stuff. That's what it is. I like wood, I like running. Okay, not even a half slip up. Not even a half slip up. Okay, well, impressive. Good for you. Racism. Everyone likes to, here's a quick little something. So everyone likes to talk about, racism here in America. No matter what, everything always devolves into racism in America. And truth is that my wife's from India, and of course her family is also from India, and they've traveled all over the world. That's what they do. My parents have been retired for like 10 or 12 years at this point, and every year they pick a country and they go live there for a month. And truth is that the only racist countries in the world it's all the other countries, and all you need to know is just go look at all those countries. They're all basically the people that reside within those countries. And if you're an outsider, trust me, you're not always treated the best, and the people don't think the best of you. When you come to America, you get everybody together, So don't let anyone tell you that America's a racist country. They're all full of shit. America is not a racist country. Do we have racists here? Yep, you got them everywhere, but trust me, it's worse everywhere in the world. Absolutely everywhere. Okay, more comments coming. Need any ex-racists? Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what you do. I gotta tell everybody. I tell these people in my cast, like I said, I own a manufacturing company here in St. Louis, Missouri. So if anybody ever makes it into St. Louis, Missouri, and you want to come see my facility, hit me up. Let me know. I'd be happy to give you a tour. I'll show you what we do, and I'm happy to do it. It's because it's a real business. We do real things here, and we manufacture furniture. You can go on my website, buy any of the furniture you want. I don't try and sell courses to people. I'm not trying to, sell advertisers boner pills and mental health products. Like, this is furniture. It's all about furniture, and that's what we do. That's all I do. And I think that we need more of this on YouTube. We need more people that are willing to talk about what it's like to actually make things, to be a manufacturer that has to make the same thing over and over and over and over again. Whereas a lot of what we see on television is people making something once, and then they sell a bunch of advertising on it, right? They sell that. They're getting sponsorships to sell tool products. They're getting clicks, right? Clicks are a thing. They'll get some ad dollars like from different sponsors and things like that. And a lot of these people, their shops are really clean because the truth is they don't make anything. Like, they just make one product, and then they make all these things around that product, and then they sell that product, but they never make that piece of furniture again, which I find to be very interesting. here we have about 50 different pieces of furniture that we make all year, every year. So one year I could have, I only make 5 pieces of furniture all year. They're all the same. Other years I make everything in my catalog. So we actually have to make a lot of things. You have to actually know how to make stuff. You have to have the engineering. You have to have all of the jigs. I mean, you have to have it all in order to make a business work in America today. And this is what people are gonna have to learn to do. This idea that you're just gonna go to work, do this one thing forever, and you're gonna get paid a really good salary. If we get all the, if everything gets super expensive from China, you're gonna have to learn to do more. Like plain and simple, like you're just gonna have to. That's all there is to it. Okay, more stuff. We got Jazzy Jeff coming in. What are your thoughts on mass immigration? Okay, I can talk. I'll give you guys the most honest conversation about immigration you'll ever hear on YouTube. Give me just 1 second. Mahogany Teakwood, I think we've met. Didn't you make an ottoman for Gab Lagay? I don't know what that name is. I don't know who you are. I have no idea. I made so much furniture in my day. I couldn't even begin to tell you. I don't know if I've made any ottomans. I don't know if I've made ottomans. I could have. Okay, so mass immigration. All right. So what part do we want to talk about? You guys want to talk about the immigration side? Or you want to talk about the deportation side? Because there's kind of 2 elements to this thing. I'll tell you the thing. Here's what's wrong with America, all right? And this is as real as you guys are going to get with people talking about immigration. And here's the thing that nobody talks about on television or on X or any of these places. Truth is that Americans have forgotten how to work, plain and simple. And people may disagree with me on this, and they may say, oh, you're talking about I work super hard, and I get that. And the only thing I can say to you guys is that I've hired and fired probably 100 people in my day. And I know that most people don't want to work that hard. And it's not even that they don't have skills, it's that they don't have value to add, because they do. Here are the problems. Most people can't show up. They can't show up on time to save their lives, right? And it's not even that they have to show up on time. It's just doing the courtesy of letting people know that, hey, I can't show up today, or I got this thing going on. It's always some spur of the moment kind of situation that we have to work around, right? You got people that got lots of car problems. Most people have some kind of family problem. Which becomes a problem regularly. The other thing is this phone, this thing that we're on right now. Most people can't stay off their phone. People are addicted to phones. They're addicted to notifications. They're addicted to anything but work. So we got a real problem with that. The other thing is drugs. A lot of people in America do a ton of drugs. And I don't know why all these states are legalizing weed, but they can't get off the drugs. And it's a real problem. And every race has their own problem. The guy was talking about racism, okay? Like I said, I've hired and fired tons of people. Black people love marijuana. White people love meth. Everyone loves drugs. The Asian people don't seem to like drugs at all. Maybe that's why they're super successful. Like, I don't know, but everybody has a drug problem. And the drugs are becoming a real problem in America today. And it's hard to hire people when you have to vet people for all this shit that doesn't have anything to do with work. So we got that going on. People today they're looking for opportunities to collect a paycheck, but they don't want to be great at what they do. It's just a job, which again, it takes all kinds of people to make the world go round. But especially first generation immigrants have none of these problems, none of them, and it really bothers me as just a regular old poor white dude, that traveled all over America and runs a company. It pisses me off, to be quite honest with you. I should be able to hire anybody and get a decent day's work out of somebody, but it's very rare these days, and you'll hear all the time that people say, oh, you can't find good help. But they don't, what they're not saying, what they're not telling you is that they can't find good help, but they're not saying the other side of the equation, which is the people that come into America, the immigrants and the people that are first generation people, are fantastic workers. And they're really good people. They don't steal anything. They don't do drugs. They're not loaded up with tattoos. They don't smell like weed. They don't do any of that stuff. They just want to work hard, and they're really good people. Really good salt of the other people. They got families, they just want to work and be great at something. They want the opportunity to get to do the thing that it is that they want to do, and they want to learn. And again, like, that's the honest to God truth, guys. Like, that's what I see. That's what I've seen in all my years hiring and firing people. The industries that I worked in aerospace. Like all the things I talked about: drugs, family problems, tattoos, all this kind of stuff. You couldn't have all that shit where I worked. Like, they won't hire you. You will be blacklisted by the FAA if you get caught doing any of these things. You get blacklisted, and you're never going to work in that industry again, which is aviation. So I never had to worry about that kind of stuff. But truth is that when you own a small business, you got to do all those things. You got to vet people. You have to constantly monitor people. You got to make sure these people are going to work. And the truth is that a lot of them don't. And it really makes me sad as a guy that, like I said, came from very meager means and just busted his ass really hard, did a good job every day, was always honest. And I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that the mass immigration is not because Americans want cheap labor, because we don't. We don't want cheap labor. We just want people to come work with us. That's it. We just want people to work with us. And the truth is that we got a lot of people here in America that don't want to work. They don't. And they don't care about the company they work for. They don't care about anything. They just care about themselves. And I'm here to tell you, a lot of these immigrants that come in, it's the exact opposite. They're the best people you've ever met. And like I said, I married an immigrant. My wife's from India. And amazing person, and that's what I see, So I hope that changes. That might not be what you wanted to hear, I don't know, but that's my honest to God opinion about this whole mass immigration thing. Like, I don't think it's because people want cheap labor and they're looking to skirt the system. It's like they just want workers, So again, if we bring work back to America by saying, hey, you can't buy cheap foreign-made stuff, I'll tell you, the first people to get the jobs are going to be first-generation immigrants. It's just how it's going to be, unless you can find someone that really wants to work. But it's very hard, and again, I know that's a very unpopular opinion, So anyway, I'm sure I lost tons of people on that one. Okay, we got, let's see here, Cast Blast 19. I started as a carpenter doing mostly residential remodeling and went on to working as a union pipe fitter. Wow, that's really impressive. My dad's a pipe fitter in Portland, Oregon. He retired, a long time ago. But yeah, pipe fitters and pipe fitters are good class of people, man. Great people, and I think that that industry is actually growing. People that are learning to weld and steam fitting and all those kind of things. So that's really impressive. But yeah, started as a carpenter for residential remodeling. That's again, and Cast Blast. I don't know if you would agree with me, what I'll say on that is being a carpenter is one of the greatest jobs in the world. And the reason I say that is because what you walk into every day is completely different. I mean, everything is some version of the same thing, I get it, but you don't know if you're gonna, what do you do? You're gonna go put in windows, or you're helping out the sheetrock guys, or you're framing. A carpenter just can do so many different things. And that's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning of this cast. The idea that, like what I do, I don't just make furniture. Like some days it's doing payroll. Sometimes it's dealing with some clusterfuck that happened, like I got sued, or maybe things got to be swept up. I don't have anybody here. I'm helping out with paint, or I got to order things. Like, having a multitude of things to do all day, every day makes work a lot of fun, I think. And I know some people don't like it. Some people like to just do the same thing every day, and that's cool, man. Like, I need you people, believe me. But yeah, I think man, carpenter, what a great job. Like people always call me a carpenter, and I have to tell people, like, I'm not a freaking carpenter. Like, I say it all the time, like, stop calling me a carpenter. They'll say, well, you make furniture, and I'm like, that's not a carpenter. And I always tell people, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, a carpenter takes his tools to work. Me, I take everything comes to my shop. Like, there's a very big, I don't go to do work. Work comes to me. There's a very big difference. And that's what I always tell people, the difference between a carpenter and a furniture maker or a cabinet maker. Like, the work comes to me. I don't go to the work, So that's one thing I'm glad I don't do. I love my shop. I love just being in here. I know where everything is. If something goes wrong, I can hear when something's going wrong. That's how well I know my building. So that's very cool, man. You got some great experience. Let's see here. Motivation. Listening to people, knowing that there's people out there that do this kind of work is motivation for me. It gives me hope that, people are going to get back to doing this kind of work, because I think we've got a big problem in America with people just not liking what it is that they do. It's not that, maybe it's not fair to say they don't like what they do, but they have never felt what it means to do something you genuinely love. Like, I really wonder if people understand what it's like to, there are things out there that, like I was telling my wife the other day, like, you got to find something that you go do during the day, but then you also come home and do that thing at night. That's how much you love something. And there's jobs out there like that. There's careers out there. I was lucky. Like, I literally, my entire life, I've gone to work, made furniture, and then come home, and then make furniture for myself, make furniture for my own businesses that I tried that failed. Like I did it and I've done it for 25 years at this point. So there's jobs out there like that, and there's people out there that can do that stuff. And I don't think we hear enough of those stories. The only time we ever hear that is like there'll be some geek who started a tech company and he just loves doing deals and making finance and loves doing whatever, playing the stock market. It's all these like romantic things. The idea that you can be a middle class worker or own a little middle class business and be content. Like nobody talks about that, and that's I think what's getting ready to happen. I hope that's what gets ready to happen. Okay, all right, more comments coming. Motivation. We got G-Fama. Is it G-Fama? G-Fama here. Hire me. I like to build stuff with wood. Good. Come to St. Louis, Missouri. I've hired best furniture maker I ever hired. Literally walked in one day with his wife. His wife spoke really good English. His English was terrible. He was from Syria. He was a refugee. Made it to America after being in Germany for a couple of years because Syria is a really effed up place. But anyway, made it here. He wasn't. He had a green card, but he didn't have his citizenship. Well, he came in, and I said, "Hey, man," his wife came in and said, "My husband's a great carver. He's really good with wood, and you need to hire him." She followed us on the internet on Instagram at the Resplendent Crow. And anyway, he came in, and I looked at his work, on his phone, and you can never tell what someone's able to do. But I said, "Hey, man, I'll give you a job. You work great, I'll keep you, I'll give you a week, if it doesn't work out, then I'm going to send you packing, but I gave the guy a job right then and there. He worked for me for 5 years, best furniture maker I ever had. And truth is that my business slowed way down last year, like big time, like sales drop of 80%, right? 80% in 1 month. And, small businesses don't have a ton of capital, right? Well, that extended off into another month where sales came back, but it was just really slow. And I ran out of cash. And I just didn't have enough money to pay this guy. I had to let somebody go, and he was the person that I had to let go because, I can't run my business without a painter, man. I can't run my business without someone that can just strictly assemble and sand furniture. I have to have certain key people in my business. And truth is that a month, 2 or 3 months later, in the month of October, I went and I sold my car so I could make payroll to make sure that all my guys had enough money, right? And that's the difference between someone that actually is a business owner versus someone that's like a CEO or a corporate type. It's like we'll go to great lengths to keep our people paid, even if we don't have work for them, because we don't want to let anybody go. It literally is like a family when you work for companies like mine, and that's just what we do. We'll sell everything to keep our businesses alive, because if our businesses aren't running and we don't have things to make, then our employees don't have things to work on, right? They don't have jobs, and then they're fucked, right? Their kids don't have a paycheck. They got to wonder about food, and they got to go and tell their wives that I lost my job, and that's the worst thing ever. Like that's and people talk about business owners like we're some pieces of shit. And truth is nothing can be further from the truth. Like nothing can be further from the truth. And if more businesses are allowed to grow here in America, and more people are allowed to start companies because there's not tons of cheap shit from overseas, more people I think will get to experience what I was just telling you, and we'll get more camaraderie throughout our people here in America, because we'll all kind of have similar situations. We'll all kind of know what it's like to, have to sell things that you like so you can pay your people, to take out mortgages on your home, to help your employees with kids and living situations and whatever it might be. I think it's a good thing, So anyway, I don't know if I think I might kind of went off on a tangent there. Tattoos. Okay. Yeah. What's this? EJ G-Star. And I say tattoos, maybe that's going a little bit far. If you really want me to elaborate on that, I can. Truth is that depending on what you sell, I sell very expensive furniture to, when I say it's middle class and older white people. That's what I would say, white women especially. Truth is that my customers don't want to see a bunch of tattoos, So again, in the factory, I don't care, and personally, I don't judge anybody, but I do know who my customer is and I know what my customer expects, right? So you have to think about that kind of stuff. I wanted to get tattooed many times in my life, and my mom always told me that. She said, don't you dare get a tattoo, right? Because if somebody sees that's potentially an employer, they may not hire you, And again, it almost sounds like boomer, right? Old school, but that's how I was raised, and I just never did. I was terrified of getting a tattoo because I thought it might not be employable, So that's just me. You go do you. All right, we got Daniel Pearson coming in, lineman here. Oh my God, lineman, amazing. Okay, a really fun job, but not worth missing the family time. Yeah, no, and man, dude, you're spot on, man. I commend you, and that's the difference. That's the difference between someone like myself talking about this versus what everyone always says. Family first, family first. And my dad always told me money first, you know, and what he meant by that wasn't, you know, fuck the family. What he meant was that it's hard to have a happy family if you got no money, you know, and he wasn't talking about like chase money at all costs. He was just make sure you got a job, make sure you can put food on the table, you know, make sure you take care of your kids, make sure you take care of your wife, is what he always told me. And I thought it was really good advice. And it's not to, you know, family time is very important. Don't get me, I would never say that's not. It's probably the most important thing when you can have it, but you got to be able to provide. And that's very, and it doesn't matter if you're the man or the woman in the relationship. Somebody has to be kind of the rock that, you know, puts food on the table, so to speak. And anyway, I think that that's really good. And linemen, so funny thing, I lived in Savannah for a long time, Savannah, Georgia, and Savannah, Georgia never gets hurricanes. And I lived there for 3 years, and 2 of the 3 years I lived there, we got 2 hurricanes back to back. And man, I'll tell you what, freaking linemen, like those guys, it's funny. So I lived in Kansas for a long time, and you don't really know when tornadoes are coming through, you know? So when the tornadoes come through, you know, obviously the linemen and the utility people come in, and it's cool. But when there's a hurricane coming in, and you'll know this better than anyone, these guys are like a freaking army. Like they know when that hurricane's gonna come in, they have a pretty good idea where it's gonna go, and you have this army of freaking people waiting to come in and make shit right. And that is what I love, and that is what I want for America. You know, if we say, you know, you can't have a bunch of cheap shit over in China, like you're gonna have to make stuff here, and it's gonna cost a lot of money. I hope that there's a freaking army of people just waiting to get to do the thing that they always wanted to do, which is to make something, whatever it might be. Whether you're a hairdresser. I mean, say you wanted to become a hairdresser. I have no idea, but in my case, it would be making furniture. You know, the lineman, right? You know, he wants to start a company where, you know, maybe he helps, you know, do the repair utility lines, maintain utility lines. I have no idea, you know, but I just hope that with things being more expensive on the outside, it opens up the potential for people to do more here in America. So yeah, very cool, man. I appreciate being here. You work is huge. See, the people you work is huge too. When the mood swings with every little obstacle, it's tough to work with people like that. It's like having 2 wives. Yeah, no, and unfortunately, that's business, and that's especially small business. And there are a lot of people that can't take the heat. They're very you know, Jekyll and Hyde, so to speak. You know, one day they're super happy, the other day they're the terrifier, as they say. You know, they're just looking to, you know, fight with people, and that sucks, you know. But you got to put your shoe on the other foot. Like, you got no idea what people are going through, and sometimes it's really hard as a business owner. You know, the pressure that we're under to keep the business alive so that people have jobs, keep the business alive so we can deliver the products to our customers, so that we have more customers to come in to keep the cycle going, is very stressful. Like there's, I don't internalize stress quite the way like my wife does, but you know, my wife hasn't been able to sleep for like days sometimes. She's so stressed out about things, you know, has to take, you know, crazy anxiety medications for it. And fortunately, I've never been that way, but I mean, you just got to meet people where they're at, man. You got to understand what's going on. That's why as employers, you know, we're always very cognizant of what our employees are going through. Like, I want to know what my people are doing. I want to know the bullshit that they're going through. Not because I'm like a voyeur or anything like that, or I'm a control freak. It's just, I just want to make sure I kind of understand what's going on. That way, if things do go kind of goofy, you know, I got that in the back of my mind, and we think about that kind of stuff, you know, and vice versa. I would hope that if you're working for someone who's one of those people, you know, you can kind of get in their head a little bit, kind of figure out where they're coming from, and, you know, communication's key on anything. So if you can have a relationship with the people you work with, and you're not afraid to talk to each other, it goes a long way, believe me. Okay, all right, that's why we work as a team. Hell yeah, man, that is why we work as a team. It's just embarrassing. It's like, yeah, freaking linemen, man. You guys are some of the hardest freaking people there are. I remember in Kansas, you know, we get these crazy winters, and some of these guys, you know, up there, because the ice had come in. Once the ice gets on those lines, you know, I don't know why they come down, but like trees hit them. I mean, the wind can knock them over. The poles themselves can break. I mean, all kinds of shit goes wrong. And these guys go out in the worst conditions. Like, literally the worst condition I ever have to go through is like, I got rain, maybe I got some snow, I got to drive through my big SUV, you know, that has heat, you know, and I have to walk, you know, 20 feet from my driveway or my parking lot into my building. Like, that's as bad as it gets. I might get a little water in my building from time to time, you know, but I'm not in 0-degree weather with fucking wind and hail blowing at me, you know, up, you know, 30 feet in the air, you know, as cars fly by, like, or whatever. Like it's just, like some of these people that do these jobs, like it's amazing. Like it blows my mind. Same thing with the guy that was a pipe fitter. You know, the freaking steam fitters and pipe fitters. My dad used to talk to me about building ships and things like that. I went to work with my dad. He would weld plastic, right? He worked for the natural gas company, and you had to it's called Teflon welding. Teflon weld all these fittings together, and they look like plastic to me. But man, just going out and working in those shitty conditions, like man, you gotta respect those people, you know. So it's a big deal that we have those kind of people, and I want those people to do well because it's those are some freaking hard jobs, man. Okay, I guess I probably get back on topic. Okay, I got 10 more minutes, guys, and I probably gotta get out of here. Hit the like button, add to the comments. I appreciate everyone digging in on this. Like I said, don't be afraid of these freaking tariffs. Don't be afraid of what these people are saying about manufacturing. Don't let people think that you're gonna be some loser if you go to work in a factory, because not all factories are the same. You know, if someone tells you that losers work with their hands, like don't believe that shit. It ain't true. People make really good money, work with their hands, and if you don't make great money, it's very fulfilling. It feels really good. Okay. Last comment. So you gotta follow your passion. One for the biggest lessons I've learned on. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I tell people if you're one of these people that wants to get into a trade or any job for that matter, don't be afraid to move home and take no money to go do that job. Okay, I'll tell you what, if somebody came in here and wanted a job and they said they're gonna work for free, I'm gonna at least give them the time of day, okay? If someone that wants $10 an hour, I'm gonna give them the time of day, right? And truth is that when you hire somebody, you can't always afford to pay someone a living wage, so to speak. You can't give them all the benefits and all the accoutrements of someone that's worked here for 5-10 years. You gotta build that stuff up. So if you have no skills and you say you want to go try something, don't be afraid to go work for cheap and go get your foot in the door and try it, because a lot of people are willing to hire people. But people have to understand that they cost more as a new employee than they're worth. And it doesn't matter what you pay them, because they don't know anything. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna slow everyone around them down because everyone's looking at them to make sure that they know what they can do, right? That they're not gonna fuck something up, right? So we're always keeping an eye on new employees, but there's a big cost to bringing on a new employee, So try something like that. Like if you have to move home, move home. Go do the thing you want to go do, especially when you're young, because as you get older, you're gonna have more responsibilities, you're gonna have more bills, you're gonna have kids, you're gonna have just all kinds of things that can make it much more difficult to go do what it is that you want to do. So passion's super important, but doing something with that passion is probably even more important. All right, so you gotta go there, Daniels. Well, my battery's getting low on my phone here. I think I can make it though. All right, next cast blast. The rest will fall into place. Yeah, it will, 100%. We got Chris coming in. Gonna post the stream later. I missed the beginning. I don't know how the stream thing works, to be honest with you guys. I just assume that when I do these lives, you can go back and watch them. Like on the Modern Woodworker YouTube page, I would imagine they're available. But if they're not, that's news to me. And I'm trying to figure this out, guys. Like, trust me, I want to show people what it is I do, and I want to do posts about all this kind of stuff because I think it's good juju for people. It's good juju for me to share this with people. So I don't know. I hope you can watch it later. But it should be on there. I said I've got a bunch of streams on there. So again, thanks, Chris, man. I appreciate you coming in and at least saying hi. And I guess I'm gonna figure this thing out. But anyway, go through a couple more points real quick, then I get off here. I appreciate everyone hitting the like, the subscribe, and add to the conversation. Okay, so I talked about, I wrote a note down here, not all factories are robotic and mechanized, okay? This is something that people have to understand, okay? When these goofballs show you, the stupid memes of the people on the sewing machine and using the machine to put in the screws, like, that is not what a freaking factory is like, okay? Some factories, I'm sure, are that way, but guess what? It's not people running those machines. It's freaking robots, okay? And that's fine. That's great. But there are factories like mine where we hand cut everything. Right? We turn legs. We got a wood lathe. We've got table saws. We've got a million kinds of sanders. We spray paint by hand. We clean our booths by hand. We still sweep up the floors. We do all kinds of things. We don't just do one thing over and over again like a robot. Okay, so don't buy this shit when these people tell you this kind of stuff. It freaking pisses me off. Okay, sometimes having a manufacturing company or a factory is just a small business. You're 5-10 people. That can be a factory. And people don't understand that. They think it's like 1,000 people like Foxconn in China, people jumping out of fucking windows and shit. Doesn't work that way. It doesn't have to be like that either. You can have a small company. I've worked for big companies. I've worked with companies that had about 2,000 people under one roof at a place called Nordam in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Massive factory. So those places were great too. They weren't bad. They weren't the best, but they were fine. And great benefits, good pay, good people, fantastic working conditions. You know, so be leery of those kind of things. Not all manufacturing requires robotics, right? Which I just talked about. This idea that you're going to be some robot working next to a robot, it doesn't have to be that way. Okay, it doesn't have to be that way. And if you're competing against the rest of the world and everything they do is all robots, and you're the only one that makes things by hand, guess what? You become special, you know, and people don't talk about this. That's why I sell credenzas for $8,000, dressers for $8,000, desks for $20,000, because I make it all by hand using old world techniques. I don't got some freaking CNCs making shit for me, okay? People see value in that, right? So it doesn't always go one direction. Sometimes it goes the other way too. So be aware of that kind of stuff. Specialization has turned humans into robots and took the joy out of work, okay? This is one of the things that I do not like. Corporate America does not want you to know this, but you don't have to be a robot. You don't have to just sit there at a desk and take the thing, put it from here, and then put it over here, and put it over here, and then go back here. Take the thing, put it over here, and put it over here, like some freaking assembly line robot. There's lots of work where you're doing all kinds of things, and it's fun. And you get to be outside, or you get to, you know, you got nice windows where you work, or you got, you know, lots of filtration. You get to listen to music, you know, you can wear earbuds without your boss screaming and yelling it about safety, you know. So you have to be a robot in order to work, okay? So we got that going on. MBAs want to kill craftspeople's jobs, okay? And I'll admit it, I'm as biased as it gets. Okay, I got two biases in my life. It's MBAs, right? These are your masters. Anyone's got a fucking master's degree, I don't want to hear from them. Okay, the other thing is a PhD. Okay, I'm tired of people with PhDs trying to tell everyone how fucking smart they are. Okay, I don't care that you have a PhD. I don't care you have a master's degree. What have you built? Who talks about you and how great your work is? Are you a good boss? Are you a good employer? Right? Do people speak highly of you because they enjoyed working for you? They enjoyed your products, right? Your products are in their home. Like, do they have some kind of love affair? Their parents owned your products. Like, did your parents talk lovingly about you? Okay, this is the stuff you need to be, this is all I care about. I don't care about your freaking profession. I don't care about what kind of accolades you have from some, you know, degree from some college. Okay, not worried about that. You know, how many people have you hired? Do those people like you? Are you an asshole? Right? This is where people are really judged in life. They're not judged by some stupid professor. Okay, so I'm extremely biased. I'll just lay it out there. But MBAs are killing it. They will take your job. Here's how it works, okay? Someone would buy my company today. They'll buy my company and they'll say, you know what, Eric? Your product's amazing. We love your product. I'm going to buy your company. Here's $5 million. Give me my $5 million, right? They're going to pay me to help run the company because they need what's up here, right, to run the company. But then I'm going to say, you know what, Eric? I got all these other people that we got to pay for. We got to get the costs down, the margins up on these products, and they're going to take my factory. They're going to move it over to China. They're going to hire a process engineer, a manufacturing engineer, and they're going to figure out how to high gloss lacquer paint over there and make the furniture on CNC routers. They'll deconstruct it, figure out how to do it, and they'll take my $8,000 credenza and they'll sell it for $6,000. But guess what? They'll bring in a bunch of marketing people, they'll bring in a bunch of salespeople, and they'll probably double profits, right? Which means they get to make more money. I may even get to make a little more money, but guess what? Every motherfucker here that worked for my company doesn't have a job anymore because all they can do is make shit. That's what I'm against. I don't want to see that in America. I'm as pro-capitalist as it gets, but these people have ruined our country, and I'm tired of it. And the bitch of it is those are the same people that then come in and they say, you know what, Eric, your operations here at this big shop you got, I saw you drinking beer there at 4 o'clock on a Monday. That's not very safe. You know, our insurance company's not going to like that. OSHA might not like that, you know, and like the way you're painting over here, I wonder what the EPA thinks about that, you know, so we're going to have to go bring in some of these environmental engineers, and they're going to look at, we're going to measure what the overspray is, so we can calculate, you know, the parts per million of all the gases coming off of your lacquered paint. We got to make sure this is all safe, okay? All I want to do is make shit. I just want to hire people. I want to teach people how to make shit. I want to deliver stuff. I have great customers. I want my employees to be happy, and that's all I want. You know, these MBAs and these PhDs, they have ruined our country. You know, yes, they've made better plywoods, and maybe they've helped out, you know, to get you cheaper televisions, you know, but they're not helping people love their work. That much I guarantee. So anyway, my phone is about to die, guys, and I've ranted plenty on this stream. Go through the comments, and I gotta get out of here. Let's see here. Okay, Chris, Close Blast, best of luck. Thanks for chatting. Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Brody, good to see you, man. We're doing the stream. The stream will be on my YouTube page with Modern Woodworker. You can check it out there. And I apologize, but thanks for coming in, hit the like, and all that good stuff. Howard K, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's cool, man. Like I said, people have to agree with me. Like I said, I love when people disagree with me. Like I said, I'm 45 years old. I've been doing this for 25 years at this point. You know, I've seen a lot, and I've got all different kinds of people in my family. I've got people that are PhDs. I've got people with master's degrees. I've got people that are business owners. I've got stupid rich people, and I've got broke ass poor fuck ups in my family. I've got it all, and I'm sure everyone else's family is the same. But this is kind of how I see things. So anyway, have a great day. We'll do this again. Fridays are the day where I show everyone what's in the shop. I run through. I try and do it sometime between like 10 and noon, and we show everyone what we got done, the pretty furniture and all that kind of stuff. And Sundays I try and talk about some kind of furniture related topic. So anyway, have a great day, guys.